Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Space News Pod. My name is Wil Waldon, and my guest today, my special guest, is Mary Hagy, who's the CEO and the founder of Moonmark. Could you explain to us what Moonmark is going to be doing with the racers on the moon?
They will land on the moon and they will be raced from the drivers on Earth. And one of them will take the checkered flag. So it's probably, I'll just go out on a limb here and say it is the first sporting event on the moon, certainly the first race.
So we're going to have the first moon champion, I guess,
We
right?
will.
We'll have a moon
We
champ.
will. We will
That's
absolutely have the
awesome.
first moon champion.
Okay.
Mhm. Moonmark is a competition between high school teams across the country, and we're already getting a lot of interest from across the world. Students grades 9 through 12 are going to compete to become the final two teams that build two space-worthy racers. They're not rovers, they're racers, and they will go up on the Intuitive Machines Nova Sea lander, which is going up October 11th of 2021.
Very, very cool. Yeah. Uh, Higham said in chat, he said, "Oh, high schools. Yeah. Is it only open to high school people, or can people outside of high school, older than high school, like college teams or something like that, enter?"
So the actual teams that are going to build these racers are going to be high school students. We are reaching out to those, like I say, in grades 9 through 12. However, the purpose is for them there to, if you get to build something that's going to land on the moon and race on the moon, there's a little bit of skin you got to put in the game, right? Or in the sport. And in this particular case, the tuition, so to speak, is that they have to reach out and they have to engage people across the globe in what they're doing, how they're doing it, and why they're doing it. And so there's a lot of opportunity for people of all ages to engage with the students as they go through this process. Now, what Moonmark is going to do is to capture the content and the adventures of these young people and share it across television, digital, streaming. But our purpose is really to share what is about to happen to humankind through the eyes of these students, meaning the accessibility of space, the commercialization of space. So we're really excited about this. And we also, right now, I do want to mention, we have a lunar race car design challenge that's going on. We're working with Intuitive Machines. We worked with them to develop the space specifications of what these racers will need so that when they land on the moon, they'll have the right stuff, so to speak. And then those that are competing in the design challenge in the next few weeks, actually through the end of June, they will be able to put their own mark on those racers. And we'll have a panel of judges that will judge the design, the space worthiness, and we'll also have an audience voting worldwide. So we're pretty excited about the Lunar Race Car Design Challenge as well.
Is this open to anybody around the globe, or is it just US based?
No, it's open to anyone. We have had, like I mentioned, a lot of really great international interest. So students really want to participate, and we actually started the design challenge a little sooner than we anticipated. And we did that because so many young people, and all of us, well, mostly, are housebound.
Hmm.
We're looking to provide young people and people that are interested in engaging with these young people with something that has a really positive and exciting focus at a time when we really need it.
Oh, very cool. So we have
Yes,
a
I do,
couple.
and I do want to mention, because I get this question very often, is there a registration fee or a participation fee? And the answer is no. What you have to have is you have to have access to a computer and you have to have access to the internet. And then you have to have some really cool and smart friends to get together and put the good stuff on the moon.
Oh, cool. So we have a couple questions in chat. What
Sure.
um, what is the race? What is the actual race? Will they be racing for a target or an obstacle or what? So is there a finish
What
line of
a great question.
yeah.
So we just this past week heard from Intuitive Machines as to where the lander is going to touch down, and that's going to be in the oceans of the oceans of storms. And so now what's going to happen is that when the lander is about 30 meters off the surface of the moon, it will eject a sphere of 360-degree cameras. And that we don't know exactly where that's going to land, but those cameras are, number one, going to capture the actual landing itself, which I believe will be the first of its kind. And then that sphere of cameras will serve as the rallying point, or the point at which we will direct the racers. So they will drive from the lander. Probably we will have some geometric requirements along the way, but they're going to head to that camera and they're going to turn around and they're going to come back.
Oh wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
That's cool.
So the actual racetrack itself is still yet to be determined, and there's a lot that we won't know. I say there's a lot of gulp moments in this, Will, and there certainly will
Yeah.
be, no
That's
doubt about it.
it sounds
One of
challenging,
them
yeah.
is going to be where that sphere lands and how we can line up.
Yeah, it sounds like a challenging problem to solve for the racers, especially when you don't know where that sphere is. Like, how are you going to find the sphere? You have to design a vehicle that's going to be able to not alone, go across the lunar surface. Like, that's hard enough, but you have to find this sphere of cameras, and then you have to then turn around and come back to the lander. Like, that sounds incredibly difficult.
Well, it certainly does have its challenges. The advantage that we have is that the experts that we're working with at Intuitive Machines, not only do they know how to build spacecraft and launch it along with human flight, they have years and years of experience both in NASA and in commercial space. But they actually are working with us to make sure that those racers are space worthy. And what we've discovered in this process is that there are some significant challenges, and there are some things that we've determined that are a little bit easier than we thought they would be. One of the things that I'm really excited about is that we're going to be able to perhaps accelerate some application of technology with this project that would not, we're going to be able to accelerate, for example, communications. Currently, the data streams for communication from the moon and elsewhere have a very, very specific scientific purpose. Our purpose is to capture that race, which is going to require a much higher bandwidth, both on the moon, on the lunar surface, and then back to Earth. And so the companies that we are working with in the various communications aspects of this, it's been clear that we are able to, one of the outcomes of this is that we will be able to test and prove communications on the lunar surface that will serve others when they get there.
Okay, so this is a forward-thinking mission. It's not just get the racers of the moon race around, but it's actually to serve a purpose for the future landing and other rover missions in the future, or racers even. And could we possibly see a racing circuit like NASCAR on the moon in the future? How cool would that be? That would be awesome.
Well, you're talking to someone who truly enjoys motorsport,
Hmm.
and I also very much enjoy high performance driving.
Hmm.
And so that is a reason, because of my involvement in the sport, it became clear to me that there was really, a really wonderful, analogy or analogous kind of set of disciplines that was necessary both in aerospace and in autosports. So you've got the teamwork that's necessary. You've got the physics, you've got the engineering, you've got the timing, you've got the discipline, and all of that. And that belongs in both of these areas, in both of these industries. And we thought that it would be very interesting to apply those particular skills, science, technology, engineering, and arts, as well as mathematics, in this competition. So not only are we are forward thinking in terms of how along the way we can accelerate technology and use of this for those that come behind us on the lunar surface, but also the journey along the way, which is really, really exciting, of an adventure for these young people and many people that they touch.
Oh, that's very cool. I'm glad you guys are doing this because this is so when I was a kid, I always thought about, having a moon colony and having something like this, like sports on the moon. I had these books when I was a kid and they're all illustrated and they're really cool. And I would open them up and I would imagine something like this happening, and just that somebody's actually doing this in my lifetime is insane in the best kind of way, like in the happiest way that you could imagine, that there's going to be race vehicles on the moon. Like that doesn't, to me, as a normal person, that has nothing to do with the engineering part of this. And I'm kind of like head in the clouds kind of person. This is awesome. And I really want to thank you for coming out today. Now we have one last question though. What does the winner win from this race?
Oh, oh, that's a great question. The winner, the two racers that get there, okay, are both winners. They will have gone through a really, really rigorous set of qualifying rounds in order to get to the moon. And the what they're going to what the team that takes the checkered flag is going to get the checkered flag, and it's also going to have the honor of being the first race winner on the moon. So we don't have a cash prize or something like that. This is much actually more, it's deeper than that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just put it that way.
Yeah,
They're not going
that
to be
makes sense.
motivated by cash.
That's
If
good.
someone wants to come and give them cash, then we'll make it a good scholarship.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure somebody might be interested in that. Something, some sort of sports drink or something like that might be interested, or some sort of energy drink.
May
Who
I share
knows?
one more thing, Will?
Sure.
Because of what you just shared about your dream when you were a kid.
Mhm.
So when we looked at Moonmark and we looked at at what we wanted to achieve, things have not occurred in like what you experienced for many, many years. And there's lots of reasons for that. It's not that we haven't had space heroes. It's not that we haven't had incredible stories. There hasn't been an Apollo moment since 1969, 1972. Okay. Since then, we've kind of left the moon behind and all of that sort of thing. We want to create, because we can now, we want to create an Apollo effect for kids. We want kids to look at other kids and say, wait a minute, if they can do that, I can do that. And that is something that hasn't occurred for many, many years. We can do that because we have accessibility through space technology that civilians haven't had before. And we also have the ability through communications and technology to engage people worldwide. So that's what we're going for.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. The the reality of the situation is that, these kind of things are going to be happening more so in the future, than what I ever expected, because we had, like you said, we had our Apollo moment when we were, in the 70s, the 60s and 70s, and then we had the space shuttle. We have people on the International Space Station, but we don't have anything that's like a big, big idea anymore. And I think this is one of those big ideas where people can get really inspired and get behind, and young people, especially the way that you're marketing this and pushing this for young kids to get involved with all of those amazing, amazing techniques that they'll be using to get a racer to the freaking moon and then race it
And
on the
then
moon
race it.
and then race it and then maybe win. Who knows? I mean, if they get the racer to the moon, that is huge. That's a huge, huge deal for humanity. Like it's not just a huge deal for your company or Intuitive Machines or anything. Like it's a huge deal for people and for young people in particular to move these little machines, on the moon. Like just getting them
And
there and having them land.
that
That's
is
amazing.
absolutely our intent. And we have all, since we've been born, we have had, every human on earth has had an experience with the moon. And by and large, it's been a positive experience. And
Mhm.
so what we're doing here is an intent is to, a unifying experience that's positive. And because we can, as I mentioned, communicate globally, we have the ability to touch people in the way that's meaningful to them, and that's something that we really aspire to.
That's really great. Well, I want to wrap this up for you, Mary. Thank you so much for showing up to the show today.
My
And
pleasure. Oh, thank you.
yeah, you're more than welcome. And if anybody wants to check out the race, you can go to moonmark.space and get more information. Is there any other place they can find you on the internet, social media,
Well,
etc.?
we're on all the usual suspect places. We're on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram, and check out TikTok coming up.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Mary. I appreciate it. And hopefully we will speak to you soon.
Thank you very much. We'll appreciate being here.
Yeah,
Have a
appreciate.
great day.
Yep, you too. Bye bye.